With that said, how does a church prepare with all that power at their disposal? How does a church prepare to be able to use these new tools effectively?
Well, the best way to prepare, what I always recommend is the proverb says to seek counsel,
Hmm.
and there's safety in the multitude of counsel.
Right.
My suggestion is always find someone that, and it's usually a word of mouth is how you're going to find it, but find a consultant that can come in and can guide you. Someone that's on top of the game out there, that's on top of the equipment,
Hmm.
what's going on. Find someone that you can work with, that you can trust, and you feel comfortable with. Then you're able to sit down and you give them basically the goals and the vision that you have, or their church has, and then you're able to go in, and he's able to guide you through basically the trenches and through the pitfalls
Right.
of buying certain equipment. There's
Definitely.
a lot of manufacturers out there that, and especially if you go to I'm not trying to beat up on box sale houses or anything, but if you go to a box sale, they're more concerned with moving one product instead of finding the solution that's going to fit you. And if a particular, if you want to get the very best, it is, and find your, within 5 years or whatever, you'll be able to use the same equipment, whatever the case is. Working with a consultant that can actually say, okay, I understand where you're going, I understand what you're doing, now here's the best scenario.
Hmm.
And every consultant is going to give you their best recommendation, and then they're usually going to give you one or two other options for each equipment that you have.
Hmm.
And then they should be able to explain, okay, if you choose this, this is what's going to happen. If you choose this, this is what's going to happen. These are the pros and the cons of each one of these decisions.
Right.
However, generally going with the recommendation, if you trust the person and you know them, you know their reputation, then you're able to walk away with something that you're extremely happy with.
Hmm.
And the way I look at it, especially when I'm consulting, is I look at it is not as, okay, I'm just going to guide them here for this moment. I look at it more as a relationship.
Yeah.
And we try to say, it's a situation where, okay, here's what we do, but we're not going to walk away from you.
Right.
We're gonna recommend these products or whichever the case is, but we're not going to walk away, and we're always going to be available when you have a question.
Hmm.
That's the way that it should be,
Mhm.
as far as relationship wise, and because things constantly change.
Right.
I mean, they constantly change that way. But if a particular church goes with a consultant, as that they know and their reputation and all that such, then they're going to wind up saving thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Right.
And they're going to save a lot of headache as far as not having to try to figure it out by themselves.
Right.
Because
Right.
there's a lot of information out there to have to weed through.
Oh, definitely. So definitely the plan is to develop a relationship with a consultant as soon as you can, somebody you trust and you like to work with, and go from there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. Well, how about a couple of words of wisdom for AV techs? How to grow, how to be successful. Just some words of wisdom for the AV techs out there.
Well, what I would say is duplicity is key. Or duplication and replication is the key.
Okay.
Especially in churches, there is a tendency especially when you're dealing with lay people, they're not paid staff or whatever the case is,
Hmm.
is the old problem of burnout.
Right.
They always talk about that in any particular church out there. 20% of the congregants are doing 80% of the work.
Oh, the work, exactly.
And what's sad about that is a lot of times that's caused by just human nature, but at the same time, a lot of it is caused by a lack of the technical director actually reaching out and constantly recruiting. And if they are constantly recruiting and duplicating
Hmm.
the knowledge
Hmm.
and constantly passing that information on to another person, you could build a strong team
Hmm.
that you don't have to worry about someone getting burnt out.
Right. Right.
Someone's not up every single Sunday and every single Wednesday and every single Thursday.
Yeah.
Not one person. They're able to share out that responsibility. And
Mhm.
that, if we go back and we look at, at back at the Levites, you know, a lot of people don't understand that the Levites, they were responsible for keeping the temple clean, and they were keeping all this stuff. They always think of Levites as just those who stood up and they worship God 24/7.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, there were so many Levites that they only served before the Lord in worship once a year, one day out of the year, one 24-hour period, and the rest of the time they were responsible for cleaning and taking care of the menial things. In sacrifices and all this stuff. Not saying the sacrifice is menial, but what I'm saying is that the other details of the sanctuary and the tabernacle.
Yeah.
And by having that many people, no one ever got burned out by any means in that regard. So I think we can learn a lot from history and just pick up from that. That we need to constantly be duplicating ourselves, and constantly expanding that ministry.
Right. Well said. What about some words of wisdom to worship leaders?
To worship leaders, number one, remember that you're there to serve. Remember that your engineer is your very best friend.
Okay. Well said. Because
they're the ones that can either make you sound good or not at the same time. They all need to work as a team.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of times where you go in a church and it's almost like it's like a tug of war going on, or a battle that's going on between the audio team and the musicians.
Yeah, you definitely see that.
The truth of the matter is, you're all one unit. You're all there to serve the congregation and help them move into a attitude of worship and stay in an attitude of worship before the Lord. And the responsibility is let's figure a way, and there's always a way, to be able to work together to make it a positive experience every single time we come together. Yeah. And I mean, we're all human, and there's always a source of irritation here and there, just because of personalities and all that kind of thing. But we can grow and we can learn from everybody. Even though there's conflict, that doesn't mean that there's not a opportunity for growth or an opportunity for improvement. Right. It's an area to work on. My suggestion again to worship leaders especially is to treat your audio team and your video team with the highest respect, and remember to serve them as they are serving you too as well. And if everybody's carrying on an attitude of serving, then a lot of that conflict's going to go away.